Another drill that we can do to increase our proficiency or our mobility and our endurance is any drill that mimics a submission that we know. For example, a very basic elementary submission that we all know now, because we've been through the introductory curriculum, is the arm lock, the straight arm lock from the guard. So Nathan is in my guard, my feet are closed, crossed over his back, and I can make a grip on the sleeves. I can grip like this, pistol grip, right? It's called that because here's the pistol. So we can hold both sleeves in this pistol grip. Or I can do the rolling grip, which is my personal favorite. The thumb goes in, but that's illegal in competition. We don't really care about competition too much, but if you do compete, pay attention and know that you can't insert your hand or thumb inside the cuff or pants leg and leave it there. Collar, yes. Cuffs, no. So as soon as you put the thumb in, you can roll, pinch the fingers together and roll the cloth over the finger. So now you have this little handle. It's nice. I like this grip very much. Do it on both sides. That's one option. Another option is just to hold the wrists, like this, which works if you don't have a gi. I'm going to choose this grip because it's my favorite. And we open the guard and put one foot in the hip. And the idea now is, of course, to lift this leg straight up to the ceiling so that it goes under his armpit as we spin our head all the way to this side. And in order to spin the head effectively, if we just go this way, we're stuck. We need to put a little pressure here and get the hips outside this plane of his body. Right, so spin on the back, the head goes to the far side, and take the hips out. The main idea here is hip mobility. So we take the hips out, as much as we need to. And then this leg, because the hips are outside the plane, when I kick it up, it can easily swing free and land next to my other leg. Now ideally, I'd like to do this with the hips up off the ground. We're just illustrating it a little bit slowly now, right? This is going to help me create momentum, and it is the proper position for the arm lock. Because this is a drill, no need to finish here. We just keep the grips, right? Take the leg off, and then go to the other side. We would put the foot in the hip, and we would lift the leg straight up, and move ourselves here, bite down, pass the leg, make sure the hips are up. Right, now that's the steps that we want to walk through. We don't need to keep putting the foot in the hip every time. You can use the leg that you're using to bite his back as a push-off point. In other words, if we're here, right, rather than go back and then put this foot in the hip and move all the way around to the side, since the leg is already here, I can spin off this leg. I can put pressure on his back with this leg and spin myself to the other side, right? So you build momentum to do this. You can start by putting the foot in the hip, no problem. One, we keep the hips up, right? And then we go back, and we put the foot in the hip, and we change and lift the hips up all the time. But when we get going, right, we want to be here like this. And notice how I jump the hips up to snatch him every time. Every time the hips should be off the ground. Look at this space here between the ground and my hips. My hips aren't down where, if I was actually doing the submission in a fight, he could simply walk himself in and stack me, right? The hips are up where I have control over him. Now the partner's job on top is to just act like a frame. He's not going to resist. He's not trying to defend the arm lock. He's also not trying to be a rag doll. Don't become limp. Keep your base spread. Sit down on your heels. Keep your hands here, either on your partner's chest or in your partner's belt. When they put them in the belt, usually it's a different drill, and we don't really take the arm lock, right, too much unless the hands are high enough. Right, if they're closer to the belt, we usually look for a triangle or a choke or an omoplata or something like that. So the arm lock happens because, typically the arm lock happens because the arms are a little more extended. So keep your hands here on your partner's chest. Leave them there for him and act like a frame so he can spin around your body. And then he goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. All the way up to 30. All right, does that make sense? Okay, guys.